Okay, so we are live. Welcome to another Storytellers Happy Hour. I'm Lisa Kastner, and I'm typically here with the infamous or famous Ruben Teehee Hazlett, who I am sure will be joining us in a moment. We just came from another Run Wild with Us, Ask Us Anything, and I'm sure he's just chatting it up with his fellow editors. So in the meantime, I am, oh, darn it. Oh, well, it won't let me. You get to join me while I am making myself a martini in my super fancy, oh, you can't see it. Let me see if I can change this. I have a really cool, fancy background. Oh, maybe I can't do that right now. Oh, well, that's fine. Anyway, so I hope you guys are having an amazing time and that you are enjoying whatever venue you are in. Hopefully that this is, oops, that didn't work. This is just the beginning for you of a fantastic, or actually, so like this is Wednesday, right? So, oh, this is weird. There it goes. This is just the beginning of a fabulous week for you. And yeah, so I am just going to hang out with you guys until Teehee joins us. Now, normally we don't really take questions from folks, but since Teehee's not here yet, if there's anybody who's watching and you're like, oh my God, I need to ask her a question, you are always welcome to ask me a question. Always, 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 never doubt that. If you are watching this and you're like, why in the hell am I watching this woman make a gin? It's actually the equivalent of 2 gin martinis, but that's fine. It's that like, hey, be somewhat kind of a little bit prepared situation. Anyway, you're also more than welcome to actually just go off and get yourself your own favorite drink and get ready to join us. So if this is your first time watching, how this works is, hold on one sec. So how this works is typically Teehee will come online and he will have a question. We typically talk for a little bit in the beginning, and then he'll come back with a prompt of sorts, and we will then take turns sharing stories based on that prompt. So, and usually he has some kind of really cool methodology for figuring out what prompt he wants to use. So that's always fun. Anyway, so I'm here. I am making this is my gin martini. And we are just hanging out until Teehee shows up. So, guys, just as a reminder, for this show, as well as for, hold on one sec. So for this show, as well as for the last one, which was our Run Wild with Us, Ask Us Anything, where you get to ask the acquisition editors for Running Wild and Rise, whatever the hell you want, you are always welcome to ask questions. So the way you do that is you go into the comments section of whatever venue you may be watching this and just pop in any old questions that you may have. And that is basically how it works. So let me see. Woo. Yep, that is definitely a gin martini. Anyway, I will just hang out here with you guys, and hopefully T will show up shortly. Honestly, we were just on the same call for like an hour, so I don't know where his Tushy is. Hopefully his Tushy shows up soon. I'm positive I clicked on the right button for this happy hour. Because yes, I'm that person who I double check that. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. I'm just looking up just in case you may have lost the link to it. So that he has this. Hold on one sec, or actually a couple secs, while I resend this to him. Ooh, that did not work the way I thought it would. All right, there. Okay, I just sent it to him. So hopefully he will join us in a few minutes. But anyway, so usually this is a lot of me and Teehee just kind of bantering. And then if we have guests, which by the way, we love guests. So if you have anyone that you would like to recommend to join us, please, please, please feel free. It's always fun to have another voice on our Storytellers Happy Hour. So if there's someone that you can think of that you would like to join, do me a favor, just reach out. Even just put it in the comments section. And I am more than happy to reach out to that individual and ask them, see if they would be up to joining us for a happy hour. And for those who may be curious, I am having a gin martini. And it's funny because I'm one of those people, like I typically adjust my whatever I'm drinking based on who I'm hanging out with. So I have one friend who she has a very specific type of gin that she drinks, and it has to be straight up with a twist, no vermouth. I have another friend who he actually got turned on to gin martinis by the creator of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And he drinks these like he's never seen water before. But his is the old school with olives and vermouth. And I I just like it cold. And some of the best restaurants I've ever been to, what they do is they'll note as they'll give you your own shaker like this, and they'll put it in like a thing of ice, so you know the remaining of your drink is going to stay cold, so you can just keep adding as the night goes on. Or they will keep coming by while you're drinking, and they'll check to see the condensation that's from the cold. And what they'll do is when they notice that there's no more condensation or some other like factor that tells them that it's no longer a cold drink, they will then replace your glass with a fresh one that is ice cold. I love that. I absolutely adore it. It is my fave thing when I'm out drinking with friends. I don't know. It also lets you know that they're actually paying attention to you and to your table, and they're really kind of looking out for you. And I don't know. I just think that's really fabulous. And I'm in California. There's this one restaurant in Santa Monica. They have like the best roast beef sandwiches and the most amazing gin martinis. And that's exactly what they do. What I described is they replace that gin martini with the glass, when they see that it's obviously gotten too warm. So, like I said, it's just it could be a me thing. It's all good. Let me see where I'm guessing Teehee. I know he didn't forget. He should be here any second. You know what I'm gonna see? I'm gonna see if he is still on the other live stream, which would be weird. But it's possible. So let's see. Let us see. Oh, nope, it's just a recording. Okay, so he's not there. So hopefully his little tushy is going to show up shortly. And if not, you know what? I'll just go off and tell you a bunch of stories that hopefully you'll find entertaining. Yeah. So I am, oh, whoops, that's not it. I am setting up right now, so you know. So what I was doing was I was setting up the next Run Wild with Us, Ask Us Anything, which will be on February 26th at 5 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. Eastern time. And we do that. I do that a week in advance so that everybody has the link, like all of our amazing people who are part of this have the link. And if you are someone who is interested in joining us, even as a viewer, then you may have it, a week in advance as well. I just think we're super lucky to have the ability to do this and to, share with you guys. Because honestly, I remember back in the day when I was first into writing. Sorry, my cat is like, what do you mean you're talking to someone other than me? This is so not fair. You can screw off. No, go away. Oh my gosh, you're so funny. But I remember when, it was like a miracle if you could get in front of someone within the publishing industry. I mean, and get any kind of feedback or any kind of, direct insights. It was like unheard of. Everything was very, don't talk about this kind of thing, or, don't share information. And I just love that as time continued, people started to realize that, look, in reality, we should all be looking out for each other, right? We all have incredible knowledge, incredible experiences, and all we should, really be doing is seeing how we can benefit one another and help each other grow and help each other improve. And, I think that's something that we've seen a lot more of, especially with all of this amazing technology that's available to us, again, to make us all successful. So, Bim Tapa from says, hey, good morning from Nepal. Good morning. Thank you for joining us. It's so lovely to see you. I believe, actually, you know what, guys? Since we don't have Teehee, why don't we try something new? So if you want, you are more than welcome to ask me absolutely anything. It doesn't have to be about publishing. It can be something personal, and I'll decide on how I will or will not self-edit. It's all good. so yeah, but like, it was interesting because, I remember before the internet, I remember when getting information was like you had to go to like the library, or you had to go to you had to reach out to directly to individuals to gain their insights. And I still recommend that. I still think, I mean, gosh, there's nothing better than going to someone who actually they live it and breathe it, because they're going to be able to tell you things that you would have never thought of. But I also know it's a great starting point to actually do research online and to look up things for, individually, and then use that as a baseline for any kind of questions that you may have for those who are subject matter experts within whatever that specific field is. So, the fact that we have that we have all these incredible tools available to us, and that, I just spoke at Diamond Valley Writers Conference, or Diamond Valley Writers Guild, on Sunday. And by the way, the recording is available. It's completely free. Actually, now that I say that, let me see if I can find the recording. But what's amazing about, they asked me to come and speak about the different formats. They asked me to come out and speak about what are the different venues that you can actually be published on today. And again, I remember when this was something that you didn't have an option, right? You had to go with mainstream publishing because that's what was available to you. And today, oh, they may not have it up yet. It doesn't look like they have it up yet. That was a month ago. Let me see. Yeah, I don't think they have it up yet. That's all good. I'll post it. I will share it with you guys as soon as I get it. But basically your option once upon a time was like you could be oh, hold on. This is Ruben. Hey. Go check your email. I just sent you the link to the Storytellers Happy Hour. It is, hold on, let me tell you. The link is, hold on. Because it's the Storytellers Happy Hour. Oops. So it's a different link. Yeah. Hold on. Let's see if I can get this for you. Invite. It's okay, it's HTTPS //r2TS-Z4VWEB. R2TSV4VWEB. Awesome. Okay, I'll see you in a minute. What? Oh no. Okay, hold on. Let me try this. Let me try this. Why would it not be there? That doesn't make sense. Okay. Which email should I send it to? Okay. All right. Try it now. I just, oh, come on, send. All right, I just sent it to you. All right, cool. I'll see you, hopefully. Well, actually, stay on until I can see you pop up. All right, cool. All right. I have just been like BSing and having like my gin martini on, so. Yay, okay, bye. Ah, come on. Yay!
Yay! Technology is terrible this week.
Oh, I'm so sorry. But you're here. That's what matters.
Yay!
Yay!
Man. So,
All
oh
right,
my
go.
gosh. Yesterday, I had to work out of a cafe while my housekeeper was cleaning.
Uh,
And then she was done, but then I had a call that was a very important work call. And I was like, all right, I'm going to take it in the apartment because it's ready and it's private.
okay.
And so I was like, all right, let me close out.
Okay.
And the credit card machine
Uh-oh.
inexplicably just like broke. And they're like trying it several times. And they're like, it's not working. And I'm like, crap, I have a call
Oh
with
my
the
God.
funder. Jesus Christ. So I had to run home and get cash and then run back and pay and then collect all of my stuff and then run home again.
Wow. Oh my God, that's awful.
Yeah. Yeah. It was, but we're here.
Yay! I don't even remember what I was saying. I was just so excited to find you.
I was waiting and waiting. I was like,
Oh, you
this feels
poor
like a long time.
Oh my God. I'm so sorry. You know, it's funny. James tried to join us last month and he was like, hey, what was up with the link? And I'm like, nothing. Like, so I'm wondering if now what for whatever reason, when I'm refreshing it on the calendar, like I'm updating it on the calendar, if it's actually doing it. Like, I don't think it's hitting everybody's calendars anymore.
Yeah, I also think that maybe like StreamYard itself like remembers history with cookies.
Oh, that could be. I could
Yeah.
totally see that. All right. These people don't care.
Yeah. Sorry, we're late.
They want to hear our whatever our revealing story is. For real, like what I was saying in the last one, I really do have people reach out to me like after we like tell our tales and they're like, holy shit, did that really happen to you? And I'm like, what do you want the truth to be?
It's always funny too, like little details that you get left out because
Yeah.
they sound too crazy.
You're crazy, totally, yeah.
Oh, if you didn't believe that, you're definitely not going to believe the more real version
Yeah.
of it.
Like the one when we were talking about like our first time back in the day, and oh my God, the number of people who reached out, they were like, holy shit, was that for real? And I'm like, what do you want the truth to be? I can go with it. But if you want the honest truth, yes, that was real.
Exactly. Hopefully one day Ben and I forget the other guy's name, my bad.
Peter.
Hopefully one day they can join us because they seem like they would be fun.
Oh my God, they are hilarious. But I don't think Ben's a drinker. And Peter, I'm not. It's not that he. So they're both like Ben is in obviously New Mexico and Peter is in Florida. So this hour for him after working for real, yeah, it's a long day. So I don't think like he's like, fuck no, I'm not doing that. It's more like he's like, I'm so tired.
Exactly. That is real. I've had a lot of Zoom days this week. I've found that like by hour 10 of Zoom, I'm just done. I can't think. I have nothing to respond.
I found like if I'm in meetings where there's a lot of emotive people and you kind of have to manage the room, that I want to say after a couple of hours, I'm so tired. Like I'm sucking down chai tea. I'm sucking down coffee, like anything to keep me going. Cause it's just like my whole body's like, that was enough,
Yeah.
but we're still getting stuff done. So I'm, I'm like, oh, well, that's just how it is. But yeah.
Yeah. It can be rough. All right. Now we're here so we can let the audience know. Yes, the shaker. I've got my beer. My boyfriend will probably come home in the middle of all of this.
That's okay. You got some killer fucking food from the boyfriend, so
Yeah,
I'm just jealous.
It's real good.
Right? And he's cute.
He's very
He's
very silly. We've had a couple of really silly interactions lately that have been kind of funny because he doesn't speak English.
okay.
So we
At
were at
all?
he understands English, but he doesn't speak English.
You know what? I'm that's me with Spanish. Well, not that I don't speak it. It's like it's like I get myself so anxious internally that I can pull off like, ¿cómo está? Like, your basics, but if anything other than that, like in an actual dialogue, like I know what you're saying, but I can't respond.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. It's a hurdle. It is a hurdle. At this point, I don't even care. Like if I say things wrong, I'll just say whatever comes out of my mouth to my boyfriend because we live together and it's a safe environment.
I was gonna say, and he knows, right? So he can be like, "All right, dude, I know this is what you actually meant. Like you didn't mean. Never mind."
Yeah, like
everything that comes to mind is like illicit. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, my verb conjugation has gotten so bad because he does just understand what I meant. And I'm like, oh, like I actually have to get better at speaking like grammatically correct Spanish.
Seriously,
So before he gets here, so we were at karaoke last week. Okay, so this is our storytelling happy hour. We're already starting with the story. I do have a prompt, but this is a really funny story. So we're at karaoke, and there's other people there, obviously. And this woman is singing Alanis Morissette's "You Oughta Know," and Luis, like, he recognizes that song, obviously, but he just like putting in his own English words, and it's like adding up to like he was like something like you, I don't know, I miss you, and like something about wanting to be with you, and like how much I love you. And I was like, Luis, this is not what that song is about. And I'm like, Google Translate. Let's throw the lyrics in. And then he reads the lyrics and he's like,
ew. Do you know the story of her album?
That is about Dave Coulier.
Well, no, she was friends with the producer and they were just like, we're just going to freeform it. And like every song on that award-winning album, she just bullshitted it all the way through. Like there was no, yeah.
I love it.
I was like, oh my God, I would love that. Like just throw me in a freaking studio. Actually, my husband would be horrified, but like throw me. So my husband is a musician and a producer and he's fucking brilliant. So can you imagine like just tossing my foul ass into a studio and just saying, go for it. Right. Like he would be so, because like, he would, well, I can't say he would be horrified. We would probably just be like, acting doofy. Like, yeah, we do things like I'll have a song stuck in my head. So I'll find it on Spotify and we'll like dance around the kitchen, like singing along to the song. And it's always something like, what was it like? He did it all for the nookie. Come on, the nookie. And we're like bouncing around, acting like dorks, So yeah. Anyway, too much information.
You gotta be able to act goofy with your partner. Otherwise, what's the point of having a partner?
Thank you. I mean, your partner should be someone who is like your bestie and like because my husband will travel for months because he's a musician. Like that's how it works. And so he'll come home and we'll lay in bed to watch like an old movie or whatever. And within like 5 minutes of me touching him, I'm asleep. And it's that, honestly, that's more, and honestly, he's asleep like 10 minutes, later. But it's just so indicative of like, there are certain people that you're so comfortable with that like, you know, you don't realize how tense you are and how much you miss them until they're there. And then, like, when you actually have a moment of peace, it's like, ah, and you're like, every single time, for real, every single time.
Totally true. Oh my gosh. This gives me, because we haven't even said the prompt, but that actually gives me ideas for stories.
Okay.
Yay. So for folks tuning in, we'll do the spiel. This is the storytelling happy hour. So we have a prompt that we usually get from the Moth. Storytelling thing. They have a deck of prompts, story prompts, and we pick one at random, and then we're just going to riff some stories. So the card that I picked while we were having technical difficulty is animals.
Okay.
Stories about animals.
Okay.
I like this because it's broad.
It's really broad.
It could be anything. Actually, I'm starting to discover as I look through the deck sometimes that sometimes they're too specific. That they have things like, they're like age transitions. And I'm like, you mean like puberty or like death? There's really only the two.
Okay. Well, and it's interesting. Like now, like I remember when we were kids and they would describe like menopause as this, like, you know, you get it when you're like 90 and it's, you know, it's almost like now you're dead, right? And now they're describing menopause as it's another form of puberty, because so many women go through menopause, and when they come out on the other side, like they're still getting their nookie on, right? They're still, you know, they're whole. It's just understanding, you know, what the process is, which, and I know this has nothing to do with animals, but I was hanging out with a dear friend, and I keep getting on my feed, and I swear it's because, you know, how they can tell like what your age is from, you know, whatever. And I'm getting all these ads for like, you know, are you having problems getting wet? And I'm like, no. And I want to reply to whoever it is that created these products. I don't know a single female who has problems getting wet or getting interested. Let's put it that way. If they are, that means they're not interested. Like, that's it. That is angry. Like, game over. That is it. I don't care if you're a teenager or midlife or in menopause or premenopause or most postmenopause. If the person you're with is not exciting enough to you in whatever capacity that you can actually get excited, that means you're not into it. Boom.
It also feels very much like a man wrote those ads, because like that is not the same for men. As men get older, it stops working sometimes. Not all men, but
agreed. And a lot of times it's medicine induced for men, especially.
Yeah.
Like, you know, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
This is a whole thing that I did have a conversation with my partner about at one point, because like for so many, we will eventually tell stories about animals.
We will. And I have one about a zoo that's been non-existent forever. But anyway, go ahead.
Awesome. But like in terms of like sex and arousal and stuff like that, I feel like we have this idea that it's like a scarce resource that like, you know, at any time it can go, instead of an abundance resource, like a scarcity resource. Well, I used to have this for a long time, which is that like sex was such a scarce resource. If someone wanted to have sex with me, it didn't matter if I wanted to or not.
Okay.
I was like, because this could be the last time I ever have sex. And then as I get older, I'm like, no, that's not the case. Like I could have sex whenever I want to. It's an abundance. It's an abundant resource. It's not a finite resource.
Correct.
Yeah. So
Although,
then I got picky.
I completely agree. I went through the same, like, no one will ever want to have sex with me. No one still ever wants to in there, but there's a whole nother psychological thing behind that we can talk about later, but because it's not about animals, but keep going.
Yeah. Well, because it's crazy because it's like, and it's very much a young person's thinking where you're like, oh, it's this finite resource, so I have to like take advantage of every single opportunity, or like,
you got a lot.
Yeah, and it's like, no, you don't need to do that. You could actually like, it was so life affirming when I was like, wait, I don't have to have sex with someone just because they want to have sex with me.
Oh my God, that's awesome. See, I had no, that's not the story. Okay, animals. Sorry. I keep like refocus.
I have a good zoo animal story too.
Okay, you go first then.
Okay. Yes, and this will help us take us off the track of sex because this is a story about my mom. So my family mostly lives in Atlanta. I think it was in the process between moving to Atlanta and from Iowa to Atlanta that we did all the touristy things that you do there, like the World of Coca-Cola and all that. So we went to the Atlanta Zoo. And I remember it was springtime or maybe it was early summer. And we're going through, we're looking at everything, all the different animals. They have got lions, they got like a Komodo dragon there, all these things. And then they have this walrus.
Uh-oh.
And you get to the walrus enclosure, and he's just like, he's ginormous. This guy, whatever his name is, they have a little plaque with his name.
Really?
And he's just sitting on a rock, and all of his big fat blubber, like that looks like kind of regal, right? And he's looking at people as much as people are looking at him, right?
Totally.
He's like, you have come to my arena, not the other way around. Yeah. I was a big fan. And my mom's like, oh my God, the walrus. And then she says, at first it starts very calm. My mom says, I read an article somewhere, I think on the internet, that walruses can mimic human speech. And I was like, oh, I've never heard of that. And my mom was like, I think it's true. So then my mom is like, hello, Mr. Walrus. We're all teenagers, so this is like embarrassing, but more embarrassing is that my mom commits to it. And she's like yelling at him to say hello back. People are starting to look at her weird, and her response is, no, it's okay. Walruses can talk. So, hello, Mr. Walrus.
I love your mom. Oh my God, I love your mom. I love her so much. Oh my God, that's awesome.
And the walrus is like, he's so oblivious to people, right? But there's a certain point where people actually believed my mom because she said it with like a lot of conviction. So she's saying hello. A couple other random strangers are also saying hello and like all this stuff. And then like the walrus moves a little. He like readjusts himself. So like all his flubber is moving. And there's this like moment of anticipation, like, is he going to speak? Is he going to speak?
Is it going to happen?
And he just does that like
the Beatles song.
Yeah, we're all like, and it's like the crowd is silent. People have gathered around, and then the walrus just does that like raspberry thing that you just
yeah,
and then resettles himself and looks very bored. And this is where the teenage embarrassment comes in, because after that moment, people start peeling off. And people start not believing my mom anymore. And me and my siblings start backing away from my mom, and she's like reaching for people like, no, walruses can talk. Walruses can talk. It's real. And we're like, oh no.
Oh my God, that's awesome. Get away.
And it turns out walruses cannot mimic human speech. She misread that article.
Oh my God, I love it.
It was never real. It was a dream for a moment, and it was gone.
Okay, for real. That was awesome. All right. So when I first moved to Los Angeles, I heard all these rumors that there was this ghost zoo. And I was like, well, what the hell? What does that mean? Right. And all right, I'm a cheap ass. So I go on Groupon. I'm on, what's the other big one? I'm on Groupon. I'm on, of course I have to find this now. Because I just had to say something.
Groupon was an era. Also, hello, Bim and Cree.
It is awesome to see you guys, for real. Not that we're already trashed off our asses.
Somehow I can't get my StreamYard to actually work with whatever to be in the comments, but I see and affirm that you have commented.
And really? Oh yeah, Cree says hey, and Bim says hey. So okay, so I am actively on Groupon and Living Social like all the time. I got to do like Cirque du Soleil moves, like for real. There was like a school for that. Like I did all kinds of shit. Like I did skydiving off of this. And by the way, skydiving is awesome. Anyway, so so I heard all these rumors that like there was a ghost zoo that existed in Los Angeles. So I'm like, okay, so I'm like researching it. Well, it turns out what Los Angeles did is they had this like tiny little like isolated zoo that when they decided to expand, instead of expanding the pre-existing zoo, they built a much larger zoo like right in front of it. So my husband and I were like, okay, and it wasn't on Halloween, it was around Halloween, because on Halloween they're, like I said, I'm a cheap ass. The prices are like cray. But we went like through the zoo, the official zoo, and then we decided to go through the abandoned zoo. And can I just tell you, although it was very, very cool, it was also incredibly creepy. Like I know why people have I know why they have tours, because as you're going through, like everything is like empty, but there's something about going through this like empty zoo with no animals at night.
No.
And you can tell there used to be animals. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like it just fed all of my dreams for the next like 20 years because it was so freaky. And yeah, I don't know how to, and I'm a fucking writer and editor. I don't know how to explain this. Like, I have it in my head, but like it's so yeah, you just have to experience it to understand what I'm talking about. You know what I mean?
It's almost like apocalyptic, I would imagine.
No, that's perfect. It is incredibly apocalyptic. That's like every time anyone reaches out to me, they're like, "Oh my God, are you okay from the LA fires, blah, blah, blah." And I'm like, okay, I'm fine. My house is fine, blah, blah, blah. But understand, as my cat tosses her tail in my face, understand Like I would wake up and I'm like, okay, am I going to go for my morning run? And I'd open my door and literally ash would fall. And it wasn't clouds, it was actually density from all the fires. It was so low that it was like you were looking through a cloud. And our regular temperature was at least 10 degrees lower than it normally was because the sun could not crack through
Penetrate. Yeah.
Exactly. So yes, you spot on. That was it. And my husband was like, I'm never taking this tour with you again. And I was like, yo, all good. Like I can do it on my own. But like this, at the time I thought I'll never experience this kind of like apocalyptic environment again. Not realizing that I would experience it at least, let's see, what, mid-January to mid-February. Oh, and the other super creepy thing, which is not zoo thing, but so there was a period, so I still actually volunteer at a lot of homeless shelters. And there was this one shelter that I was on my way to the shelter. And crows were following me. Like I actually have video of the crows, like as like they were out front when I was getting out of my garage or my, back of my house. And then like as I'm on my way and I get to the homeless shelter, it is like at least a dozen crows that were like just follow me for some unknown reason. Yeah. And I actually have a couple since moving to California. I'm going to say I have like 3 or 4 situations like that where like parrots were suddenly, they just like appeared. And I'm like, what?
I wonder what that means. Like,
Right?
spiritually or divination or whatever. I've been randomly attacked by birds.
Oh my God. Seriously?
It's always when I'm doing a walk of shame.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
It happened to me twice in Mexico. And it was in a really crowded place. So that like grackle could have chose anyone.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
specifically chose me and like bothered me. He landed on my head and then flew back and then scratched my back and just was angry.
Oh
And
my God.
yeah. I had to like run. It was
Oh my God, Teehee, that's horrible.
yeah.
All of mine have been like protective. Like they've been like I mean, I know this sounds fucking weird. I fucking own this sounds just, and I'm on my 3rd martini. I'm just saying. But I've had at least 4 instances where either a crow or a parrot, it was like yeah, like they were protecting part of their pack. And I've had similar with dogs where like I would be house sitting for someone who had a lot of dogs, and I would wake up and they were all like surrounding me and like hugging me, like they were trying to protect me in some way. So obviously I have problems that I didn't know because
I don't think I've had this experience with animals looking out or protecting me. It sounds really nice.
I don't know. I mean, honestly, it's a little, so it's one thing when it's your own pet, right? Like Margarita is my jam. She's my cat. Like she's all that in 100. It's a different when you have never met these animals before and they are following you around, and like there comes a point when you're like, are you like making sure I'm not getting into shit? Like it's just like you're like, okay. And like, yeah, like with the crows, that's one thing, because they actually show up several times. I mean, a lot. Like, because
Crows have memory.
I go on walks every morning, and sometimes I will go on a walk, and like when I'm near the end of it, they'll like, I'd say like a half dozen or a dozen will show up. I mean, and they don't interact with me, but it's more, it feels like they are like guardians. And like
Nice.
I'll go home and that's it, and that, nothing, right? And then like I recently posted this thing about parrots because I'm on a walk, and all of a sudden more than a dozen parrots show up, and they're just like getting their fucking jam on. Like they're having a good old time. And I'm just like in admiration, like, dude, you guys are rocking it. Like, this is awesome, And
Like, I've been chosen for this experience.
I'm guessing because of the fires, they somehow escaped wherever they were being kept,
Mm-hmm.
and got their party on. And I'm guessing that they've like moved on. You know what I mean? Like they've gone back. But so yeah, so they were just like, yeah, woo, and like had their blast or whatever. And yeah, I mean, I've had, yeah, like none attack me or anything. They're always just kind of like, yay, you're here, yay, whatever. Now let's go party, or can we like hang out with you or whatever.
So really early into being in Mexico, I went to this place. It's like a retreat center. I don't even know if it still exists anymore, but it had its heyday. Before it opened, I went with a friend to like tour it and look through and hang out with the owners and whatnot.
Okay.
They had a super mangy cat
Oh.
that turned out to be a dog. That's how mangy it was. And I was like, oh, that cat's in really bad shape. And they're like, actually, it's a dog. And I was like,
dude,
holy shit.
That is fucking hilarious. I'm just saying.
But they had this giant old bird that was like a parakeet in a cage. Okay. And they were like, oh, yeah, this bird is like 80 years old.
Holy shit.
Very mean and like dislikes people. And they're like, so it never leaves its cage because it will attack people. And they're like, but the thing is, because like the personality of birds or parakeets or whatever, like it fixates on one person it doesn't like. Because they were like, the last time we let it out, there were like a party of 15 people here, and the bird went directly to one person.
Oh, well, that's interesting.
Okay. That person never interacted with the bird prior.
Okay.
Just like the bird.
Like, you.
Yeah, the bird looked and assessed and was like, fuck you.
Oh my God, that's awesome. That is so awesome.
I don't mess around with birds. I'm jealous because I don't have a lot of like animal guardian things that happen to me.
But babe, you've got like cats, right?
I have a cat. And I'm convinced that in another dimension, that cat was my child.
See? Bam.
Yeah. Okay, maybe I'll say this because this is also in the theme because we're talking about animals. So
we're good.
My cat is a trans non-binary special needs cat.
Aww.
Two veterinarians have agreed with me that my cat is trans non-binary.
Oh my God, that's fabulous. I don't mean it in like a dick way. I mean that in like for real. That's amazing.
Because, like, my cat, it was assigned female at birth. But
Mhm.
both vets were like, this cat doesn't really act like a stereotypical female cat. And I'm like, yeah, because he's trans, because he's a trans cat. And they're like, I guess. But then they have to say, like, with the caveat there, like, scientifically, we're not sure if cats have any understanding of their own gender.
Oh,
And I'm
bite
like,
me, fucking assholes. And oh my God, I have so many. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
yeah. I mean, like, I'm sure cats have some sense of their gender because I'm very sure that my cat is trans
Yeah.
and gender non-binary,
How cool would that? Oh my God, that's awesome.
but also special needs because he's really clumsy.
Really?
Yeah, he'll like jump, like he'll try to jump on the back of the couch and
Mhm.
miss aim and fall, but
Mhm.
he'll still land on his feet. But
Oh,
like it's
interesting.
only a couple of feet up from the floor. So it's like that
Normal.
shouldn't be a challenging jump for an apex predator like yourself. Like,
Yeah. 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 No, yeah. Mhm.
he's special.
He is.
He's
Oh my
somebody
God.
who's embarrassed.
I so love our Storytellers happy hours. Like, oh my God. We are so, I mean, our energy is so amazing. Like, we're so fabulous. Like, I don't know. Anyway.
We should try in the next year or so to do a live event in LA.
Ooh.
I
So,
just came up with this idea, but I think like second half of the year.
so I was just dared. Why do I keep getting dared by people? What the fuck? Anyway, so I was just put out there to have a live event in LA for Incurable, which is the anthology of stories based on Cure. So we could piggyback on that, right? It's
That's a great
October.
idea.
It's the weekend of October 13th.
Okay.
I will send you the info. I sent everyone, like, okay, for real. Anyone watching, I take dares, which is really, really, really dangerous. And that's why Teehee's laughing, because he's like, fuck yeah, she fucking does, and it's fucking hilarious. Okay, so I take dares. So it looks like we're gonna end up having a party probably at my house the weekend of October 13th. And we could totally do like a live whatever we want because we have the space to
Hell
like
yeah.
fucking bring it, right?
Hell yeah. I know off the top of my head the general structure of my work travel for the year, and I don't have anything going on in October.
Babe,
So,
we're doing it.
so
We're
I'm
gonna
good.
fucking do it. I can tell. It was so funny. Like when someone brought it up to me, she's like, "Oh my God, we need to do like a live event, but we need it at someone's house." And I'm all like, "Oh yeah, I have a 2,800 square foot house in Los Angeles, blah blah blah." And like as we're talking, like I walk away, I'm like, I just got conned. What the fuck? Like, God damn it. But it's always
let people talk me into shit.
like, how the fuck do I get myself into this shit? Oh, right. I got myself into it. Right. Came on. All good. So, oh my God, Teehee, you should have heard me. I had to talk to. All right, I'll tell this story, and I know we're like over, but tough shit. So, I'm talking to this Teenage Writers Summit this weekend in San Francisco, and I go, I'm like, oh my God, this was so cool. And I'm like, wait a minute. Do people know, like, do you use cool anymore?
So the thing.
And they're all like, oh, yeah, we're good. We know what you mean. It's all good. Don't worry. It's all fine.
It's the opposite of cringe, I swear.
Right. Totally, right. And I'm like, I'm just thankful I know what cringe means, right? Because I'm like, dude, I'm like fucking 53. Like, I don't goddamn know. I don't follow your shit. Like, I'm just like doing my own thing. Like, I have no idea. So when I get reinforcement, like, no, you're not totally like out of the loop. I'm like, yeah.
Yes. And my advice dealing with youth is the less you care, the better.
Oh, 100. Yeah.
I did this real quick story.
Do it.
So after Hurricane Sandy in New York, I led a group of 4 different high schools that were doing volunteer things that I had to coordinate throughout the city of New York for responding to Hurricane Sandy. Not first responders, obviously, but like looking through neighborhoods to see if there's damage, checking in on homeowners or people who live in their units, and like everything, basically canvassing. And I was a political canvasser. So I was like, I know how to do this. I had a team of people. We bring all these high schoolers to this big public park to go through this. And all the other adults with me who are part of this like canvassing project, like immediately lose it. And they were like, I think I was cool in high school. And I was like, why would you say that? Like, who cares? Like these are just people we're organizing. Like, I don't care that they're teenagers. And then other people were like, I think I really came out of my shell in college. And I'm like, we're talking about neighborhood districts that need canvas. Like, where did this thought come in?
It's so fucking weird.
Yeah, right? Everyone got so insecure about fucking teenagers. And I was like, no, y'all just like, I'm like, they're so low on the totem pole. They're actually just walking neighborhoods for us. Like, do not pay attention. Do not care. Like, they don't care about you. You should not care about them. So we get through the whole weekend of this. Everyone is falling apart. And I'm just like, I'm over it. Also, there's a lot of bratty kids who didn't want to do work, and I'm over them. So I ended up being the disciplinarian guy. A week later, we got all of our like evaluations from the kids' perspective of everyone. All the teenagers fucking loved me.
Duh.
And I was like, what? I was like, I don't even remember a single kid's name. Because I was over it. But because I was over it, they were in, but also I don't care. Like
No. So I there is this ongoing writers conference that they only allow speakers to show up like every other year. And I kept having people who attended my workshops add me to the next year's session, and then like the coordinators would take me out, and I'm like, okay, this isn't me, right? Like they're asking for me to be added and you're saying no. Like I would like tell them like, oh my God, I love you, thank you so much, it's like huge. But if you want me there, you've got to tell the coordinators, because I don't have say, right? Like me saying, look, I'm getting all these emails, texts, blah, blah, blah. It means nothing, right? They're looking at who actually gives a shit. And so you have to say it directly. But
Yeah.
like, oh my God, Teehee, like I'm like, I don't know what to do. Like, excuse me. Because now what's funny is, and I know we're over, and I'm so sorry to people watching, but like when I was at San Francisco Writers Conference, people kept saying to me, and by the way, I'm on like my third teeny, so you know this is like no shit. But anyway, and I need to eat dinner, by the way.
Okay.
Okay. So they just kept saying to me, like, you're no bullshit. You actually tell the truth. And I thought, well, like what have people been feeding you? Right? Like, I'm not, this isn't, I don't, what are people telling you that's your, like, people, Teehee, for real, they ran up to me after sessions. They're like, oh my God, thank you. You're no bullshit. You know, can I reach out to you? I'm like, of course you can. And they're like, oh my God, this is amazing. And I'm just like freaked out because I'm like, what are other people telling you that is your response?
There's so much fucking scam energy in like the independent publishing, self-publishing world that like this is not a surprise.
My other big one was I volunteered to be on a panel about memoirs. And I said our biggest so one of the key topics they want to talk about was like why memoirs don't sell. And I'm like, what? Bullshit. Memoirs are like the biggest sellers. At least our biggest seller, it sold or is selling between 8 to 10,000 total.
Mm-hmm.
The other two publishers were freaked out. They're like, oh my God, you've got numbers like that? And I'm like, wait, hold on.
Like you don't? Like
You don't? Like, how do you not? Like, what are you? All right, edit. And I'm like, so, like, okay. And so we go on this panel and we're talking, and I realize they're only talking about numbers for paperback, not hardback, not ebook, not audiobook. And I'm like, but it's not about the platform. That's a platform.
yeah.
Right? That is
It's
a technological tool to get your story out. Boom. That's it. That's all it is. Now, how many people have actually read it, listened to it, whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's all it's about. So we're on a panel and we're talking about this, and they both admit their numbers are based on paperback. And I'm like, all right, yo, my numbers are based on like everything. And one of the editors goes, that you author, that's what you should pay attention to. And I'm like, then why aren't you?
So many people anecdotally that I know are like, I listen to books. I don't read books as much, but I'll listen to a book. And like that's not my customer experience. I can't listen to a book. But if it gets people reading, like
Fuck yeah.
fuck yeah. Whatever platform it needs to be.
My biggest compliment I ever got in my entire life was one of my best friends growing up. And I know she only reads Mad Magazine. Like for real. She only reads Mad. She was like, holy shit, Lisa, I read Cure and I like plowed through it. I read Family Pack, I plowed through it. Well, I need the next one. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, this is fucking awesome. That to me is like the biggest compliment you could ever have.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
like someone you know who really, and by the way, she's brilliant because we were both in all AP classes all through what? Elementary, high school, you name it, right? So, like, to have that kind of feedback was like a holy shit, this actually works, right?
Yeah. This is we have to go for dinner
Oh, yeah.
and replenish alcohol, but this is a
Sorry.
whole thing too about genre and how much people try to ghettoize genre, but like genre works because genre works.
Dude, let's do that. Like our next one, let's do it all about like genre and our experiences. Cool?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Awesome. All right. Love you guys. Thank you for
Love everybody. Love you too, Lisa.
Yay, love you. All right. Ciao. I will see you next time.